Right. Hi, Mrs. Rodriguez. We're just been talking as our group without Tim. So Renee and I have been discussing some things we've been doing in math recently to try to help the kids really just not only to learn, but to kind of learn from each other and to see math in a different way and dive a little bit deeper. So one of the things that we've been using and talking about that I learned about in the math meeting was using numberless word problems. And I think you've been here in the class one time when we were doing one of those where the kids simply just get the words without any of the numbers to solve the problem. So it really gets those kids to think of the two questions. What do you notice about the problem? And there's not even a question up here. So also, what do you wonder about this problem? What do you think a question could be about this problem? The kids get to talk with each other and partner up and see what they can come up with. So after they see that problem, then it just scaffolds, and you can slowly just go to the next slide. And now you know that there's 10 blue jays. It was just no numbers at all. Sitting on a tree branch, and there were some blue jays sitting on a telephone wire. And then let them discuss that a little bit. What else do you notice? Now you know that there's 10 blue jays. You click on it again, now you know that there were 2 blue jays sitting on the telephone wire and 10 blue jays sitting on a tree branch. So the kids can still ask themselves, what do they think the question's going to be with this problem? What are they wondering? So have them discuss that, and then of course you can flick on another slide. And of course, now we have the question. How many blue jays were on the tree branch, then on the wire? How many more? So that's something that we've been using in class every once in a while, just to get the kids thinking about what they notice in a problem, so they're not just number picking and throwing numbers together, and really coming to a good sense of thinking about the problem and what solutions they can come up with to solve it. Something else that we've talked about, in the morning we usually have some kind of morning work with math, and I've been trying to use a lot of these strategies. I got this packet of number talks, so there's some kind of strategy for each of the number talks that we talk about, and I put some of those up on the board. And so we talk about some of the different strategies. And the kids actually do this. That's why it's called Math Talks. So they come up and they solve a problem. They talk with each other. Is there another strategy? Is there another way? What's the most efficient way? And they come up with their own solutions. Here we're talking about getting to a friendly number and then adding what's left over, decomposing the numbers down to smaller numbers. But they also have chunked numbers together, so that was a different strategy that somebody used. So they can always learn from each other, and learning from their peers is just as important sometimes as learning from the teacher. And the last thing we've been using sometimes is doing what I call the Berg Coffee Break, Mr. Berg Coffee Break, and they seem to love that, where you can cut up the problem sets, and each group gets a problem to solve, so they have to work together, and I kind of try to get the groups so you have some strong math students and some other ones that can learn and help from the stronger ones, can help them work with the problems. And everyone has to have a job. Everyone has to come up and present the problem. So they have to decide between themselves who's going to do the job and what they're going to present to us once they come up here. And they usually have done a pretty good job with that. So that kind of helps with just differentiation of getting the kids working with each other, the highers helping the lowers, and kind of coming to an understanding how to solve the problem. I think Renee wants to add something else about what she's been doing too with the kids.
Hi, Mrs. Rodriguez. We have a little bit of overlap across our 3 classes, but the one thing I wanted to add to that was that as we have started the distributive property with composing and decomposing arrays, I have been throwing the arrays up there with no numbers and then asking the kids, what do you think we will be trying to figure out with this? What's the size of the groups? What does it mean to have groups of groups, and how can we use that to solve our problems? And how many different ways can we find to solve a word problem represented by this composed array of several parts? So it's been real interesting. They've been able to do it on a very elementary level, and some of the kids have even elaborated on the story and added other components and really grew the story into a big old story problem. But it's been real fun seeing the kids' wheels turning in their minds as we're working through those problems. So I hope you like what you're seeing in our classes. Thank you.
So that's a little synopsis of what's been kind of going on in 3rd grade. I know Tim would love to be here because he loves being on camera. So he would probably have some other things to add to what he's doing, because he always has his unique way of doing his own thing, and his kids really seem to achieve and do well in there too. So this is kind of what we've been doing lately. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what's going on in 3rd grade. So thank you very much.